people have to start being groomed from a very early stage on the fact that you can just eat what's enough for you today, and this will be better for you in the near future and in the future. So I think that need for instant gratification is really what has kept a lot of people behind.
I think there is a deficit when it comes to financial smartness or financial responsibility that I see in Kenya among some young people. Bless up on yourself.
Okay, tell us name and where you're calling from.
Afro-Jamaican man in Toronto, Canada here.
Wagwan, Breton.
Yo, Afro-Jamaican, we have
I'm there.
When we come to watch World Cup games in Toronto, I've already booked a space in your basement. So don't say I didn't tell you. It's out in the public. It's out in the public. So,
I hear that.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I'm around when that happens.
Yeah. So don't put us in the garage.
You said something earlier.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, man. You guys will be taken care of.
Okay. All right. Talk to us.
You guys are taken care of. Yeah, so you said something earlier, but then I'm trying to follow. My Swahili is getting a little better, but I'm not that good yet. My translator is a little bit slow. But you were talking about people teaching kids about like money and finances.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've come across a few situations in Kenya. One person was asking for an iPhone 13 or 14, like $1,500 US, and I'm like, you know, you can buy land for that money, but it never occurred to them to invest that way. They wanted the phone, and these are the same people I see in the club spending sometimes 10,000 shillings, 15,000 shillings on a bottle of wine, and I know they're not making that kind of money. So I think there is a deficit when it comes to financial smartness or financial responsibility that I see in Kenya among some young people. I found a money market fund, and I was telling a couple of friends about it, and they've never heard about it. And I'm like, I'm in Toronto, Canada, and I'm hearing about these Kenyan financial houses that paying you 12-13% per annum, and paid. You can get the dividends monthly from it as well, and they've never heard of any of this. So there's a disconnect somewhere, and I don't know how that's going to get fixed, because there's definitely opportunity there, but they'd rather go party it out or buy a new iPhone or some new sneakers or something. And it's funny, it's the same thing here with the same age demographic as well. All the education, all the access they can possibly get at their fingertips, but they waste money. And the first check when they get a job is they go get an expensive car that they're paying $600-700 a month for. It's crazy. So it's not just Kenya; it's everywhere.
Now, you mentioned something very interesting, and now thinking back, Nairobi especially, and this might be true also in other cities, I'm not sure. There's a big thing about perception. I have to drive a certain kind of car. I have to go and spend money in a certain type of establishment. That thing is big and has destroyed so many people. Because think about it. If, for example, you're working a job where you're earning, let's say, 100,000 shillings a month, and then you're going to an establishment in a weekend where you said you're buying alcohol worth 15,000 shillings, yet you're on a 100,000 shilling a month salary. There's something within your budget that's definitely getting hurt.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
And I think this has to start being, people have to start being groomed from a very early stage on the fact that you can just eat what's enough for you today, and this will be better for you in the near future and in the future. So I think that need for instant gratification is really what has kept a lot of people behind. Very, like people who you believe are well to do, and you're like, wow, like how is it that such and such is being evicted, like they're now asking for money. Like even these influencers, I don't know whether you follow Kenyan influencers, Afro-Jamaican, but even these influencers,
I'm a Nairobi Gossip Club.
So you see, there is some of these influencers. They actually sometimes make so much money, like working with certain brands, but all of a sudden, you hear that they're being evicted or they're out there asking people for money. They've spent all the money that they made. So I don't know, maybe Afro Jamaica, what would your advice be? Like with yourself having a family, someone who's raising a family and they're looking to raise their kids in a way that they will look at money in a certain type of way. Afro Jamaican.
So, for the first thing, I explain to my kids that money is a tool, and you can use a tool or you can abuse the tool. We sit. There's a couple books here too. There's one I'm investing for kids. You sit and read it. I'm gonna explain to them. Listen, let's say I give you your allowance and it's $10 a week. All right, at least 50% of it should go in your bank account right away for savings. That's your savings, and you can use maybe the rest of it and go buy your candy or whatever you need to buy. But don't spend all of it in a week. You need to take a little time over time. Just don't go rush for the instant gratification. If you want a PlayStation or you want something, you're gonna have to save for it. I'm not gonna buy it for you and then have, you know what I mean? Take your time. You need to work for it. Go wash the dishes, go cut the grass, whatever, and let them know that you have to also earn money. Money does not come free. Anytime somebody offers you free money, run.
Wow.
It's never free. So I don't think people really talk to their kids about money. My parents never spoke to me about money. My father is one of the most careful people I know. He would probably put the money under a mattress. He's not a risk taker. So everything I learned, I had to learn as an adult, and because of that, I felt it put me behind. Whereas I am making sure my kids will not have that problem.
Let me say this. I think and that is something that we are learning as we progress in life. Because we are the generation that's, and I think me and Ali and Mika and Omosh have discussed this. We are the generation that has been caught in between.
In between, yeah.
And in between
the past and the future.
The past and the future. We are the ones who are still have something in the past,
yes,
present, and in the future. Case in point, like now, when we immigrated, when we came here, most of us were like about 19, 20, whatever. So now we have been removed from where we were. We have come to a new place, a new world, new environment. There are new rules, new regulations, new entanglement. There's a whole bunch of engagement that is happening here that we were not only were we not prepared for, but we were never taught, because they themselves could not even have known what we were coming to.
Yeah.
Maybe what they've been told. So it has been baptism by fire. So it's like we are going as we make up. We are going as we try to stitch up.
Yeah.
Like even with kids, it's something that, we never, what we knew growing up is not what we're experiencing with our kids, because guess what? We grew up in a majority, let's say, not even majority, it was fully black. Maybe you might have one or two pointees or whatever. But now here you're having many people, a mixture or whatever. So that is also an adjustment. And, to Afro-Jamaican's point, and this is something that our parents, not that they did not fail, but it is something that we can identify as we were not taught. But now we have to talk to our kids about investments or whatever. And it's based on what not only either we have learned, if we have been burnt, quote unquote, don't do this, do this, or let us secure the, like even this thing of trying to talk about avoid broti. Let us look at index funds or whatever, because that is something that many of us have known for the longest time. So introducing something that is new, you're like, no, wait a minute, hold on, what is this?
Yeah.
We don't know it, but it's taking time. But unfortunately, in as much as we learn about it or whatever, we still default to what we know.
And that's why diasporans are one of the easiest populations, especially
Absolutely.
the US diaspora is one of the easiest population to scam.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because every year or every other year or every 6 months or
There's
whatever,
always a new scam.
there's a new land scam,
Yes.
building scam or whatever. People could be genuine. Maybe. We just don't know that. But we know people who have been, especially in these big groups.
But you know where the biggest blind spot has been outside, like maybe not investing in the right places or spending a lot. The biggest blind spot has been on career guidance. That's true. Because careers, most people are employed. Your career is your biggest wealth making tool. And between 20 to 60, you have a whole 40 years where you're working to earn a living.
Yes.
So now, most of us, and myself included, and that's why it is important to acknowledge where blind spots have been. I've just been moving, not knowing, of course, until, like I started getting coaching from Tabitha, that, by the way, this is how things are supposed to go. Did you know that you can double your pay within less than 5 years? Most people don't think like that. As long as you have your job, you're getting that annual raise, whether it's 3% or 5% if you're lucky, you're okay.
But let's add to that.
Yeah.
Part of the reason is because, and I think she did mention this a while back, is that we are afraid to disrupt
Ali,
the norm.
The norm. Yes.